You've been using Microsoft Teams now for a while, messaging your coworkers, keeping up with your schedule, joining video calls, all of the different things you can do with Teams. And now you're ready to create your own team. But how exactly do you create your own team? I mean, is there like a special process you need to do? Is there some sort of permissions that you need, some crazy admin access that you need to jump on and get in the back end of the computer and add all this stuff? No. Bear with me as I go through talking about Microsoft Teams and it all gets confusing, but just bear with me here. What you're gonna use a Teams for in Microsoft Teams is for a group of people that are going to be regularly working on something together for an extended period of time. This could be like a department or an actual team that you have in a department. This could also be a project that you're working on, a long-term project that you're working on with other people. So like I was talking about before, the question of do you need some sort of access? The answer is yes. You do need permissions to be able to create a team in Microsoft Teams. You don't need, it's not the crazy admin permissions. It's a simple security permission that allows you to create that team. So if you start following along with this video and you realize, oh, I don't have that button, then reach out to your admin or reach out to your IT support provider, whatever you have, and just let them know, hey, I'd like to create a team, and go through that process with them so you can start creating your first Microsoft team. All right, so we're gonna wanna make sure that we open up Teams. See, I have the nice dark mode going. On the left side, we've got our chat, we've got Teams, calendar, yada, yada, yada. You wanna make sure you click on Teams, okay? Click on Teams, and then you'll see down here at the bottom, we have join or create a team. If you don't see this button, this is where you need to stop. Go and get that permission that you need. But if you do see this button, we're gonna go ahead and create it. So the first thing you're gonna see is some options to either join or create your team. This is great because what if somebody's already made this team for you and you just don't have it yet? So that's also really important to check to make sure that you don't already have this team created. So if you see it here, just go ahead and join in. You're done. Congratulations. But if you still don't see it here and you know for a fact this team has not been created, we're gonna go ahead and click Create Team. Now we have some options here. We can either create this team from scratch, from a group or a team that's already been created, and then there's a lot of other templates you can use. These templates are really, really cool. If you just don't wanna have to deal with adding your own stuff, you could definitely use a template. I personally like to make mine a little custom to what I like to use or what I know my team is gonna be using. So we're gonna go ahead and create one from scratch. So what kind of team is this gonna be? Do we want it to be organization-wide? Are you creating this to be something that everybody in your company can access? Is this gonna be public to where anyone can join it, but they're not necessarily added to it automatically? So that's where the organization-wide is gonna add everybody to it. Public just means they can join it if they want to, which is kind of a cool thing to do in case you have a team that you're not really wanting to lock down, but it's like, hey, if you wanna join our book club team, right? You can join in whenever you want. And then private obviously means that you need to have specific permissions. This is mostly where you're gonna be creating is this private area. You wanna make sure that your team is designed and set up to be the people that you want in there. All right, so we're gonna give our team a name and we're gonna name it something succinct, something that we wanna make sure that when you see it, you know exactly what it's for. This could be the name of the team or it could be the name of the different people that will be in there. So go ahead and name it. You can also name it something fun. If that's the culture, you can name it something fun. We're gonna go ahead and name this one 6th grade teachers. And then the description, that's gonna let them know what this team would be about. Great. So now we're gonna go ahead and click create and it's gonna create the team for us. So now we're gonna need to add some people to our new team. You can either add people by typing in their name individually or you can use a pre-made group. Maybe you've already created an email group for the 6th grade team or a group in SharePoint or somewhere else in Microsoft. You can just type that name in, it'll automatically add that group here. For now, we're just gonna add somebody individually. So I'm gonna go ahead and add Eric Pope. So now that we've added someone, we can see that they have a little drop down with 2 options, owner or member. Member is just regular, they can access the team as normal. But an owner is somebody that you may want to have some extra permissions in your team. You don't have to add any other owner. You will be the owner automatically by creating the team, but you can add somebody else if maybe you're co-leading it with somebody and you want them to be able to add channels and do those types of things that they need to do. So now Eric has been added to our team. We can see right here, we've already got one channel created called General. Let's go ahead and create our second channel because General is our first. So we're gonna create more channels. So the different channels are gonna be different things that maybe you work on in more specified conversation. So General obviously is gonna be a catch-all. It's gonna be anything that doesn't really fit into a thing, or it's more of like, hey, there's donuts in the break room, right? That's kind of where general would be. A specific channel, you're gonna wanna make it something like lesson plans, right? So we're actually gonna create one called lesson plans. This is gonna be a common conversation topic, especially with the 6th grade teachers, are their lesson plans. So we wanna make sure we create a space for that. Everything else you can kind of have a catch-all for, like general. You don't necessarily need one for every single thing you do, just more of the big conversation topics that you could quickly lose them in the long list of things that you're doing in the general chat. So let's go ahead and create one called lesson plans. You can add a description if you want, it's optional. I personally don't. I don't see the value in adding it to a channel name, but it's there if you'd like to. And then privacy. So privacy is gonna be either standard, which will allow anyone who has access to the team to access this, somebody like Eric, who I added. You could make it private, which means that you have to add that person to the channel as well. So it's an extra layer of security in case you have a channel that you only want specific people to. Maybe it's the leaders of the 6th grade team can only access this. So that's where you can do that. Note that you can only add people who have been added to the team. So I can add Eric to this private team, but I can't add anybody else that's inside my organization because I haven't added them to the team yet. A shared channel, however, does break that rule that privates do. You can add other people from the organization to this shared channel only, so they can't access the other parts of your team, just this shared channel. This can also be people outside of your organization. Maybe it's a client you work with frequently. We're gonna go ahead and create this one as a standard, and then this checkbox down here automatically show this channel in everyone's channel list. I definitely recommend clicking this. Otherwise, it's automatically gonna hide it, and they have to go in and right-click and do all that shenanigans. It's just not worth it. So definitely click that checkbox. We're gonna click add. We've created our 2nd channel. If you'd like to create more channels, the best way to do that is by clicking the 3 dots on the 6th grade teachers, and you're going to add a channel. You can also see you've got a lot of other options here, such as managing the team, adding members, editing the team. Those are different places you can go to just manage it. So when you manage the team, you can see up at the top just quickly pending requests for people who've asked to join the team, the different channels you have created. You can add more, you can see what type it is, different settings you have. So you can go through all of those. I'm not gonna go through those now. Most of them are just kind of cosmetic or just maybe specific things you're gonna wanna do. Let's go back to our lesson plans team. We're gonna add some tabs. So we've got the team. In the team, we've got channels. And in the channels, we have tabs. Tabs are gonna be applications or add-ons that you can put into your channels, which are actually really, really cool. The one thing to note with tabs is that if you make a private channel, there's a lot of restrictions on what tabs you can use. I'm not really sure why, that's just the thing. So if you normally are able to add a tab, you're like, yeah, I can use Microsoft Planner in this tab, but it's not working in this one. It might be because it's private. So we're gonna go ahead up at the top. We have 2 tabs already made. We've got posts, which I'm sure you've seen before, where new conversation, hello world, and that's where people can start replying to things, and you see those threads going, right? But the next one is files, and you're like, files? We're storing things in Teams now? Yes, you can. If you would like for your team to put their folders or files in here, you can create a folder structure in here. Each channel will have their own. It gets really, really messy really quickly, so definitely have a plan if you're gonna do this. So be very, very, very careful. The only thing that I would say is you don't need to worry about is if I were to ever share a, one time just being like, hey guys, look at this document. It's super cool, and I post it here in Teams. It will just save it to this files area. You don't need to worry about that, especially if you have a different structure you've got. Just use that. But if you remember that this person sent this file in Teams a while ago, but you don't want to scroll through all the text, you can click on files and you'll see that here. But now we want to create some more tabs. Let's see what we got. So click this plus button up here, and we have a bunch of apps. Ooh, apps. Lots of different apps we can add here. Some of them are owned by Microsoft, such as you can see OneNote, Excel, Word. But what's really, really cool about this is some people, different companies have created apps to go with their applications. So if you have anything that maybe you use like, let's just type in lesson plans, right? So if you use this I don't even know how to pronounce that, but if you use this app somewhere else, you can add it here as a tab in your Microsoft Teams. One that we use a lot is website. This can just be any website. Maybe it's a link to something you use frequently, Dropbox, whatever you use. Maybe Dropbox even has their own. Let's see. No, they don't. So you would want to use a website for Dropbox. That's where you can start to really customize your team, is by adding these tabs. Now remember, tabs are in every single channel you have. So make sure that when you're using your tabs, they're very directed towards the channel that you're in. It makes things a lot easier for your team to be working on different things, to access the apps or the things that they need. For example, in this one, we have lesson plans. Maybe there's a OneNote that you use that you'd like them to quickly access for their lesson plans. Maybe it's a completely different program entirely that has an application here, or it's just a website you need to go to be able to access those applications. So that is how you can create a team in Microsoft Teams. That's how you can start to manipulate it. So now you can start working in here. You can start adding people. You can start having conversations about your topics. You can start having files that you share and the tabs that you all work together on. The way we've set this up is pretty much how we use Teams daily. Anything else is a one-off, or maybe this one group uses this specific thing because they need to. But across our whole organization and the way that we set it up for other schools, that's it. It's that simple to create a team. So now you can have fun creating as many teams as needed as you'd like, with the different channels that they would need and the different permissions that they need. If you have any clarifying questions, please feel free to comment down below. Make sure to like the video, subscribe if you want more content like this, and thank you so much for watching.